So on Dusty, there is a lot of internal debate regarding Dusty Rhodes. Jerry Jarrett, who pushed for Rhodes to get the book, has been raving about the job he's done, crediting him for the great pay-per-view shows and increased ratings. Others believe Rhodes has produced TV that doesn't insult anyone's intelligence and builds to the pay-per-view shows, but that Dutch Mantel's TV was doing the same thing.
Okay, so the people believing that were Dutch and Jeff.
Yeah, I was like... I will say, like, I don't think their TV insulted your intelligence. It wasn't, like, illogical. No. It was just bad.
It was just boring.
It wasn't the case when we sit here like, this made no sense, this didn't add up, why did they do this? It's like, it was logical. You can give them that bit, I guess, but it's just not good.
Yeah.
The feeling is the two great pay-per-views were not so much Rhodes' great matchmaking, since the last pay-per-view on paper didn't look really great, but so many of the wrestlers overachieved from what you'd expect. Perhaps Rhodes' football coach speech before the show helped out. He's been given these big rah-rah speeches before the pay-per-views, firing people up, which some have thought veered too much into, like... Did you read the statement Yves Guillemot put out this week?
I don't know who that is.
He's the president of Ubisoft, or the head of Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah, I know the guy now. I didn't read the statement, though.
So the Ubisoft put out a statement this week where they were like, we cancelled 3 unannounced games, we're doing quite badly, none of our games have been hits, blah, blah, blah. And then Eve's statement was basically like, the ball's in the court of the employees to turn this around. And I'm like, excuse me?
Okay.
It's like the shit show managed company and the ball's in the court of the employees. It's the employees that's letting the side down here. And there was apparently some of that kind of reaction to some of these Dusty speeches. It's like, we've done all we can. Now you've got to do your side of it. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah. Well, the speech must work. Ubisoft is up 1.32% on the stock.
Only after their stock dropped to, I think, 10-year lows.
Oh.
And like to be fair to Dusty's big speeches, I think we mentioned last month, you watch these shows, they do not look like shows from people who don't care. They look like shows from people who do care a great deal and people who are trying real hard. And there's a red hot crowds for these pay-per-views in particular, which I think is like the biggest missed opportunity for the TVs, because I think the crowds are also hot for the TVs. They're just watching like 3-minute squash matches over and over again. Whereas if you put some good stuff in front of them, you'd probably get some damn good TVs too.
I mean, like, you put Styles and Daniels in front of them and it brought up the match.
Yeah, because they only had like a quick 10-minute TV match. It was like even more of a story match than anything else. But it was like a fun TV match.
You really only need to give them one. Just give them one an episode. That's all it takes. If only you had some sort of division that you could focus on to give great TV matches that don't necessarily have to mean or take or lead to anything. Some sort of X factor in this division.
So, like, the argument against Dusty is that the wrestlers are doing all the work and Dusty doesn't deserve the credit. To which I would say, all these wrestlers were fucking here last year too.
That's kind of an asinine perspective. Because then do you say that about every great booker of all time who drew money, like millions of dollars because like they worked out how to utilize their talent? Like it's a give and take. It's you learn. It's finding people who have star potential and then also using them in ways that emphasizes that and leads to people wanting to pay money to see them.
Yeah, because I think that, like, the biggest promoter that people would point to that like made the most out of the least is maybe Paul Heyman. Yeah. And even then, you look, like, he had Rob Van Dam, he had Sabu, he had Raven, he had Tommy Dreamer, Shane Douglas. He had people with a tons of talent. It's not like he was dealing with absolute shite. He did a great job with them, but it's not like, he was going out there with the most wooden, bland, terrible wrestlers and turning them into mega hits. It's like he was going out there with, like, diamond in the rough kind of oddball types, but people who had undeniable potential and talent. And that's always the case with pretty much any booker. Like, Gedo was booking with the best generation of Japanese talent maybe ever. And do we take that away from him just because he had freaking Okada and Omega and Ospreay and Naito? You can
throw it around the other way completely and have, like, there's been eras of WWE that have had literally the most stacked pro wrestling roster of all time that have done shite. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it goes the other way. It's like, you can have the most stacked and incredibly talented pro wrestling roster with everything at your fingertips and the ability to grab anyone you want and still not put on a good show. Like, that's the give and take, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and you can even look at Gato too, with like what we've been watching with 2012 and 2013. It's like, he has some of the best pro wrestlers of all time, but he also has a roster of 14 people that he needs to use appropriately so that matches don't get burnt out, and so that people are still interested in people like your Tanahashis and your Nakamura's, and you use them in ways that don't kill that.
Yeah, so give Dusty credit. Stop trying to take away just because you're perhaps petty and spiteful and want his job.
I do want his job, to be fair.
In 2005?
Yeah, I'll take it.
But like, seriously, like the biggest argument against there is like, oh, it's only the wrestlers. It's like, all these wrestlers were here last year. All of them. And other than like some of the big stars who only came in toward the end of the year, it's like, you have your AMWs there all year. You have your AJs there all year. You have your Sabins. You have your PDs. You have all these guys. You have your Hardys. All those people were here last year, and last year stunk. So
unless you are literally AMW, AJ Styles, or Raven, you shouldn't be making this point.
There are still some hard feelings regarding Dusty Rhodes lying to everybody about Abyss when he made a surprise return at the pay-per-view, which I do agree with. It's the classic work people for no reason. The goodwill Dusty lost by lying to everybody wasn't worth whatever he gained by nobody knowing Abyss was backstage at the show. We're supposed to be loyal to the company, but they lied to us about something that stupid and pointless. Don't work the boys and expect respect.
Oh, what a line. Can we put that... Can we underline? Can we bolden? Can we make that something that pro wrestling bookers in 2023 understand?
Don't work the boys and expect respect.
Ugh. I want that tattooed on my body.
Especially for, like, the Abyss one was particularly stupid. Because they were like, he doesn't work here, he's not supposed to be here. And he was off TV for 2 weeks. Like, there's nobody who was watching this show week to week who was like, where's Abyss?
Like... And it's not like it's fucking Jeff Hardy, you know what I mean? It's a guy who's been with you the whole time.
It's like, ooh, but there was rumors he was leaving, and he's not. People in the dirt sheets were so surprised. The thing that I think ultimately ends up sinking Dusty more, Dusty also has 2 more ideas to create superstars. He wants to give Ryan Wilson the Goldberg push.
Okay.
A lot of people are against that one. With Hector Garza out of the picture, he also wants to bring in a Shocker as the Latin star because he saw him in the McDonald's commercial and thought he had charisma. So Ryan Wilson is Triton. We've seen all those teasers this month for the debuting Triton.
The Matrix was a mistake. Like, it never should have existed. It influenced media for far too long after it came out.
Yeah, we're in the period where if you look at all the right-wing grifters now, their new favorite thing is to say, like, the Matrix is real and that there's this conspiracy against them. I'm like, how could you watch this movie and so thoroughly miss the point?
Yeah.
And then you see here Triton with his big, like, Morpheus glasses and jacket trying to be a Matrix character.
And his Ultimate Warrior logo.
He does have an Ultimate Warrior logo. We'll be talking more about Triton next month when he actually debuts. It is ultimately, like, the biggest, most thorough flop of Dusty's run. But
yeah, I don't think we'll be talking too much about him.
And yeah, Shocker's the other guy he wants to bring in after, obviously, Garza is out of the picture because of his legal issues.
Which is such a fucking shame.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, he doesn't work another show for like 5 years, and obviously then passes away. So it is a shame.
Didn't Angel Garza do a bunch of Impact stuff?
Yeah, he worked for Impact for about a year in 2017.
And he was quite good in Impact, wasn't he?
He was better in WWE than he was in Impact. He's one of the rare people who actively got better there.
He's one of those weird guys that like had his best run in WWE. We were reviewing it at the time.
Yeah, he had those matches against Leo Rush on NXT, which were absolutely fantastic.
Which were the only things competing with Dynamite on an in-ring level at the time, too, it felt.
Yeah, I think one of them won, like, Match of the Week. The prestigious Wednesday War Games Match of the Week award.
Oh, my God. We need Paul and Steph to split off their Splinter promotion and put it on Wednesdays. So we can bring back Wednesday War Games and put it behind the paywall. I wonder, out of the two of those, who has like the better connections to getting financial backing?
It's probably Stephanie, right?
Like, yeah, like you would have to have some sort of deal where it's like, Steph, you can handle the business and Paul, you handle the wrestling.
If only they did that with some other company.
I don't know what you're talking about.